Welcome to our deep dive into self-esteem.
Yes.
That inner voice that sometimes says, you've got this,
Hmm.
and sometimes says, you're not good enough.
Right.
We've got some really interesting excerpts on affirmations and the psychology behind lasting confidence.
Absolutely.
So are you ready to learn some tips to maybe boost your confidence and feel better about yourself?
I think it's really important to understand the why behind self-esteem.
Yeah.
You wouldn't follow a cake recipe without knowing what makes the cake rise.
Right. So true.
And it's the same with confidence.
I love that analogy. Okay, so first things first, how do we even define self-esteem? What are we talking about here?
Self-esteem is like a mental picture of how we see ourselves.
Okay.
It's an overall judgment of our worth,
Okay.
and it includes both our strengths and our weaknesses.
So it's not just about feeling good all the time.
Right.
It's about having a realistic picture.
Exactly.
Okay.
And research shows that people with healthy self-esteem are better problem solvers. They don't shy away from challenges.
Huh.
Yeah, there was this study
Okay.
where they gave people a puzzle,
Mm-hmm.
and those with higher self-esteem, they were more likely to stick with it and to find creative solutions.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
If you believe you can figure things out,
right.
you're going to keep going.
That's exactly.
So how do we even know where we fall on this self-esteem
Yeah.
spectrum? I mean, are there different types of self-esteem?
Yeah, there are.
Okay.
And the source material that we're looking at breaks it down into healthy self-esteem
Yeah.
and low self-esteem
Okay.
and gives specific characteristics of each.
Okay, so what are some of the characteristics? Like what should we be looking for?
So someone with healthy self-esteem is generally comfortable expressing their opinions and needs.
Okay.
They're okay with saying no.
Okay.
But someone with low self-esteem
Yeah.
might struggle with setting boundaries, always worried about pleasing other people.
I know some people like that, always putting everyone else first. So why is it that some people have that unshakable confidence while other people, get stuck in self-doubt?
Yeah.
What shapes our self-esteem?
Well, it's not just personality.
Okay.
Our experiences play a big role,
Mm-hmm.
especially early on when our sense of self is still developing.
So like if you're constantly told you're not good enough, that can impact you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think of it like a plant.
Okay.
If a plant doesn't have sunlight or nourishment, it won't grow.
Right.
It's the same with self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Criticism, unrealistic expectations, especially from people we care about, those can be really damaging.
But on the other hand, those early experiences can also be super nurturing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Supportive relationships, learning how to deal with failure,
Mhm.
those things build a strong foundation.
It's like putting money in the bank.
Exactly.
But what if you weren't so lucky early on?
Right.
Can you still build self-esteem as an adult?
Definitely. And our source material uses this car analogy that I think really captures this.
Ooh, I love analogies. Tell me more.
So imagine your favorite car.
Yeah,
You wouldn't neglect it, right?
of course not.
You would take good care of it.
Right.
Self-esteem is the same.
Okay.
We need to recognize our worth and treat ourselves well
Mm-hmm.
because we are valuable.
Okay, so what about people who feel like they don't even have a car?
Right.
How do they start?
Well, that's where the tools and strategies come in.
Okay.
We can take small actions to build self-worth,
Mm-hmm.
even if it feels a little weird at first.
So it's not about waiting for, some magical fairy to sprinkle confidence dust on you.
Right.
It's about taking action.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful tools is using affirmations.
Ah, affirmations.
Yeah.
Those little nuggets of positivity,
Hmm.
do those really work?
They can, if they're used intentionally,
Okay.
when done right, they can have a real impact on our brains.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our brains are really adaptable. Every time we think something
Mhm.
or do something, we strengthen a pathway in our brain.
Okay.
It's like creating a path in the woods.
Okay.
The more you walk it,
Yeah.
the easier it gets.
So if you're constantly thinking negative things, you're just strengthening that pathway.
Exactly.
Oh.
But the good news is
Okay.
we can rewire those pathways
Okay.
by introducing positive thoughts.
Okay.
And that's where affirmations come in.
Okay.
By consciously and repeatedly affirming positive statements about ourselves,
Yeah.
we start to create those new pathways.
Oh, wow.
And it makes it easier to access those positive feelings and beliefs.
It's like training your brain to
Yeah.
focus on the good stuff.
Exactly.
What are some of the most impactful affirmations that you've seen?
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah.
But some of the ones that resonate with me are, some of my favorites are those that focus on your inherent worth.
Okay.
Like, I am worthy of love and happiness, or I am enough just as I am.
Wow, those are good. But you mentioned that affirmations only work if you believe them.
Right.
What if you just, you're struggling with self-doubt
Mm-hmm.
and they feel like a lie?
Yeah, and that's a common question.
Yeah.
Truth is, you don't have to totally believe it for it to work.
Really?
Think of it like planting a seed.
Okay.
You don't see results right away,
Right.
but with consistent watering,
Yeah.
eventually it will sprout.
So even if you feel like a fraud saying these things,
Yeah,
it could still work.
it can because it interrupts those negative thoughts
Okay.
and introduces new possibilities.
So how do you choose the right affirmations?
Yeah.
There's not like an affirmation store.
Right, it's about personalization.
Okay.
The most effective affirmations are the ones that address your specific insecurities.
So you have to identify the negative thoughts
Yeah,
and then create affirmations to counteract them.
exactly.
Okay.
For example, if you're always comparing yourself to others,
Right.
you could use affirmations about your unique qualities, like, I am proud of my journey,
Mm.
or I am unique and valuable.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So what's the best way to use affirmations?
Yeah.
Do you just shout them in the mirror every morning?
You can, but there are other ways.
Okay.
Some people write them down.
Mhm.
Some people repeat them silently throughout the day.
Okay.
You can even use them in meditation.
So it's about making them part of your routine.
Exactly.
Okay.
The more you do it, the more likely they are to work.
It's like a playlist for your brain.
Yeah. Are affirmations enough to boost self-esteem?
They're a great tool,
Okay.
but they're just one part of it,
Okay.
like building a house.
Okay.
Affirmations are the foundation,
Mm-hmm.
but you still need the walls, the roof.
So what are some of those other building blocks?
One of the most important is focusing on your strengths.
Okay.
We often get so caught up in our flaws
Yeah,
that we forget what we're good at.
I'm totally guilty of that.
Yeah, it happens.
How do we shift that focus?
It starts with awareness. Okay?
Think about your skills, your talents.
Mm-hmm.
What do you enjoy?
Yeah.
What are you proud of?
It's like taking inventory of all the good stuff.
Exactly. And once you figure those out,
Yeah.
start doing more of those things.
Right.
Celebrate your successes.
Okay. I like that.
Another important piece is setting boundaries.
Right. Like learning to say no.
Exactly.
That can be hard.
It can.
So how do you set boundaries?
It takes practice, but it starts with realizing you have the right to say no.
Okay.
You don't have to explain yourself.
Mm-hmm.
A simple no is enough.
It's like taking back control.
It is. And you might be surprised.
Yeah.
People actually respond well to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What about people who don't respect our boundaries?
that's a good question.
Yeah.
It brings us to our environment.
Okay.
The people around us have a big impact on how we see ourselves.
So if you're constantly around negative people, it's going to be hard to feel good about yourself.
Yeah, it's like trying to grow a flower in a bad climate.
It needs the right conditions.
Exactly.
So how do we create a positive environment for ourselves?
Be mindful of who you let into your inner circle.
Okay.
Are they supportive
Hmm?
or do they drain your energy?
Yeah.
And it's not just people.
What else?
The media we consume,
Well, yeah.
the books we read,
Right.
social media,
That can be rough.
it can. So choose things that inspire you,
Okay.
things that make you feel good.
It's like curating your mental diet.
Exactly.
And one final element is self-care.
Yes.
That's more than just bubble baths, right?
It is. It's about prioritizing your well-being,
Okay.
treating yourself with kindness,
Yeah.
like you would a loved one.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it can be hard to fit self-care in.
I know, but what if we saw it as an investment,
Okay.
not an indulgence?
So it's about making a choice
Yeah,
to prioritize ourselves.
exactly. And it doesn't have to be a big thing.
Okay.
5 minutes of meditation,
Yeah.
a walk in nature.
That always helps me.
Yeah, it's like hitting the reset button.
It is.
And even just stepping outside for a minute can make a difference.
I like to do some stretching or yoga.
Movement is great for self-care.
It is.
It helps us connect with our bodies
Yeah.
and reduce stress.
So find activities that you enjoy.
Exactly.
Right.
And make them part of your routine.
So self-care is a journey, not a destination.
It is. Experiment and listen to your body.
It's more nuanced than I thought.
Yeah, it's a continuous process.
What works for you one day might not work the next.
Exactly. Be flexible and be kind to yourself.
This has been so helpful. I
Oh.
feel like I have a whole new understanding of self-esteem.
I'm glad.
But before we wrap up, what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone just starting out on this journey?
Start with self-compassion.
Compassion.
Treating yourself with kindness,
Okay.
like you would a friend who's struggling.
So don't beat yourself up over mistakes.
Right. Acknowledge your imperfections without judging yourself.
It's like giving yourself permission to be human. Exactly. I like that. And when you start there, everything else gets easier.
This has been amazing, but before we get too deep into self-compassion, let's take a quick pause. We're back and ready to dig into self-compassion
Yeah,
because it sounds great, but
right.
how do you actually do it?
It is a challenge
Yeah.
because our minds are kind of wired for self-criticism.
Hmm.
But what if we treated ourselves with the same kindness
Okay.
that we would offer a friend?
So, like, instead of getting mad at myself for a mistake, I should talk to myself
Yeah,
like I would a friend.
exactly.
Okay.
Think about it. If a friend came to you with a problem,
Yeah.
would you tell them they're worthless?
No.
Of course not.
Right. You would encourage them.
Mm-hmm.
You'd remind them that everyone makes mistakes.
Right.
That's self-compassion.
Yeah, okay.
It's about being kind to ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
even when we mess up.
So it's like self-care for your emotions. It's
Yeah.
about taking care of your mental health.
Exactly.
So it's not selfish to put my needs first.
Not at all.
Okay.
In fact, it's essential.
Oh,
We
yeah?
can't give to others
Yeah.
if you haven't taken care of yourself.
That's so true.
It's like you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
So we have to replenish ourselves.
What are some ways to, practice self-care when you're busy?
It doesn't have to be a big thing.
Okay.
Even small things can make a difference.
Like what?
5 minutes of meditation,
Mm-hmm.
going for a walk.
I love being in nature.
Me too. It's so calming.
Yeah.
Like hitting the reset button.
It is.
Even just a few minutes outside can help.
I've been trying to do some stretching and yoga.
Yeah, movement is great.
It is.
It helps us release stress.
Mm-hmm.
So find something you enjoy
Okay.
and make it part of your routine.
It's about those little things that make you feel good.
Exactly.
So self-care is a journey, not a destination.
It is.
Okay.
Experiment and find what works for you.
This is making me realize that self-care is a lot more than I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about those conscious choices that support our well-being.
So before we wrap up, any final thoughts on self-love and living a more confident life?
Your worth is not based on what you achieve or what other
Okay.
people think.
Mm-hmm.
It's inherent.
Powerful.
You are enough, just as you are.
That's a good reminder.
And when you truly believe that,
Yeah. Yep.
it changes everything.
It's not about being perfect. It's about embracing the journey.
Exactly.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
Good. I'm glad.
We've learned so much about self-esteem.
It's been great talking about it.
Yeah, it has.
I hope you feel empowered
Me too.
to embrace your unique self.
I think our listeners will, for sure.
And remember, building self-esteem is a journey.
Yeah.
Be patient with yourself.
This has been awesome. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into self-esteem.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And remember, you are worthy, you are capable, and you are loved.